Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode 298. Myself and my co-host Hans are coming to you live from the tundra of East Texas. We are feeling just a little bit, just a smidge of the pain of our friends up north. We got some cold weather down here, and when it gets down in the teens in Texas, everything shuts down. It's a national holiday. I think we were down to about 14 or 15 last night. So Hans, are you alive? Are you making it? Do we need to send out a rescue team or anything?
It's funny you say that because 2 nights ago when it first started getting cold, I told somebody, it's like, hey, y'all want to go out and go hunt? And they said, yeah. So I was like, okay, meet me over here. And they came over and we sat here inside for a little bit. And I poked my head outside and the wind started blowing really hard and it was really cold. And the end of the story is we never left the house. So the hunting got canceled for that night because it was 20 degrees with a 20-mile-an-hour wind. So, yes, we are big babies down here. I get it. But y'all up north, y'all come hunt with us in the summer when it's, 100 degrees at 9 o'clock and the mosquitoes can basically fly you off into oblivion. So, yes, we are big wimps when it comes to cold, and I'm the biggest wimp.
I am too. It's So guys, really, my hat is off to y'all. I know y'all hunt out there in teens and sub-zero. I don't know how you do it. Yeah, we've been down, like I said, here in the teens. Highs in the 20s, and a little bit of sleet, a little bit of ice, not much. But I mean, Texas shuts down, and it's my hat's off to y'all. Yeah, thank goodness. So I have not left the house since I got home from church on Sunday. So yeah, we're just hold up.
We have not left. So I take that back. My wife sent me out to go get her some Diet Cokes, and she said that, and I said, "You're willing to risk my life just so you can get some caffeine?" And she said, "That's a risk I'm willing to take." And so she sent me down the road in the ice and snow to go down to the local gas station to get her some caffeine. And happily married now for many, many years. So I think she knows that my life insurance policy is big enough that she's willing to take that risk. So hey y'all, we have our you can tell how this show is going to go. It's going to be pretty funny.
The whole show.
We have our pre-shot show that we do every year. So we are, today's Thursday, we are, Jason and I, in a few days, we'll be getting on airplanes, which I'm not a super comfortable flyer. So I kind of dread getting on airplanes every year, but every year we get on airplanes and go to Las Vegas for SHOT Show. We got SHOT Show 2024. Now, Jason, we know what SHOT Show is. We've been many, many times. You've been way more than I have. But for those that don't know what SHOT Show is, let them know exactly what it is. And then we'll get into talking about what the schedule is going to be like because we've got a lot of stuff coming up. But tell them exactly what SHOT Show is.
So the SHOT Show, it is the Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show. That's where they get SHOT, SHOT, Shooting, Hunting, Outdoor Trade Show. This is a it's an industry-only show. So to get into the show, you have to have some business in the industry, being a manufacturer, a distributor, a dealer, law enforcement. There's got to be you have to have some credentials to get into this show, and you don't just walk up to the door and say you want to let me in. This is a process that actually starts back in October of being vetted and being able to get in. This is about I'd have to go back and look, 12th, 13th year in a row, 11, I don't know. 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there in a row through Outdoor Legacy. And every single time I have to basically prove who I am to them. You think that, I pay several $1,000s a year to be a member of the National Shooting Sports Foundation. And you have to be a member to be able to get in. Your business does. And then I have to prove. I have to upload pay stubs from Hans's paychecks to get in. I have to. It's a big deal. And then every year I walk around and I see some guys in there, and I'm like, how did that guy get in here? I mean, there's no way he jumped through all these hoops. So that's what it is. It's an industry. only show. So what it really is and what it's designed for is it's designed for manufacturers to come and to bring their products and put them out in front of dealers, potential new dealers, and it's a way for for us to interact with our supplier and those suppliers to interact and again show all the new products that are coming, and again meet new suppliers. There's a lot of times, I mean, a lot of these manufacturers are like, well, hey, we may not have anything new, but we're looking for more dealers. We want more people to sell our stuff. So that's kind of what it is. Yeah. And it's just a big, giant trade show. So nothing is actually sold. So don't think about this as like somebody walking around and buying a corn feeder and putting it on their shoulder and walking out. It is actually against the show rules. I know. It's against the show rules to sell anything on the show floor. Period. You cannot sell there. So this is just for business. So meetings and that sort of thing. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, and it's overwhelming.
There's a lot, very overwhelming. I think that's the perfect word for it. It's so big, and I got buddies. And you talked about people that are getting in. You're like, how did you get in? You and I showed up one year, and randomly, my cousin's there, and y'all, my cousin is not in this business at all. And I said, how did you get in here? And he said, oh, my buddy's a dealer and he got me in. I'm like, man, I basically had to go and have certified copies of my birth certificate and all to get nuts. In. And he's like, I just got in. I was like, wow, okay. But it is overwhelming. There's so many. I mean, you think about whether it be firearms, I mean, anything hunting related, optics, clothing. And all my buddies down here, they're like, man, do you go to, you go see all the gun stuff. You go see all the rifles and hunting stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm going to be honest with you. Jason and I are there for 4 days, basically, and we have time to go to all of the night vision and thermal booths, and that's about it. I mean, you and I, we get into we have meetings lined up, but we're going right to the thermal and night vision manufacturers and distributors, and we're going to them. We're doing meetings. We're filming. We're recording. You and I do not. If we're randomly walking around, it's because you got a map in your hand and I'm loaded down like a pack mule and we're lost and we're trying to find we're trying to find the next meeting. But you could go in there and spend 3 days or 4 days and just looking at all the booths.
You can't see it all. You cannot walk every booth. So I'll say this for the guys that try to get an idea of this. Imagine the biggest, wildest, craziest, gigantic hunting show that you could ever go to and multiply this out, I don't know how many fold, tenfold. I mean, we're talking about multi-levels. We're talking about ballrooms that are the size of the expo center that we have in Nacogdoches, and there's just, I don't know how many, 8, 10, 15. Again, multi-level, it's a huge thing. You could not walk every single aisle if you wanted to. I mean, I've tried one time years ago. Like, I'm going to walk the whole show. Yeah, that was dumb. I mean, I forgot what they said. It's like something stupid. Like, I don't know how many miles of booths and aisles. But anyway, it's really, really cool. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's an exciting time. Hans, let's explain to them kind of what our plans are for, the late night vision show while we're there.
Yeah. So if you got your calendar ready, you got your phone ready, if you're just going to write it down on a piece of paper or write it down in your brain mentally, Jason talked about a lot of work. So it's going to be a busy schedule, y'all. So right now we've got the pre-SHOT Show. This is our kickoff really to SHOT Show week. On Tuesday, January 23rd, we're going to have a series of manufacturer interviews. It's something that we did last year where we air manufacturer interviews on day one of SHOT Show. And I'm going to tell you exactly why we do that. There are several reasons, but the big reason is we want to be able to have a open line of communication with our listeners and our audience to be able to know and see exactly what's being released, new releases, new information, new products, whatever, that information to go directly from the manufacturers themselves and the distributors themselves right to you. Now, as us as dealers walking into the show, we're seeing it in real time. We're going to the booth. They're telling us about it, which, we've already seen and learned about a lot of the stuff. But you, the end user, really don't get that until that information is kind of funneled down from the dealers, and it gets out to social media and all that to you. These shows are your direct. It's like you almost walking into the booth at SHOT Show yourself, and one of the people from Pulsar or AGM, walking up to you and saying, "Hey, thanks for coming in. This is what we've got new for 2024 first quarter or whatever." You do not want to miss these shows. If you love night vision and thermal optics, if this is your passion, if you treat night hunting like most people treat college football, I mean, this is your national title bowl game, right? I mean, you do not miss Tuesday the 23rd with the interviews that are coming out. We do have a series of them. Now, that's the first day of SHOT Show. On social media, I will be, releasing some short videos and pictures and stuff like that, like we normally do. But then we have Thursday the 25th. It's going to be a normal episode, a numbered episode, but that's going to be coming out at the same time on Thursday, early morning. But it is our live from the SHOT Show episode, and thankfully, for 2 years in a row now, Tom Stewart over at American Defense Manufacturing has so graciously allowed us to steal part of their booth, which is fantastic for us because we've recorded in some pretty
sketchy places.
We recorded our show. I mean, we've actually recorded a live from the SHOT Show episode at a lunch table with a guy eating his bologna sandwich 10 feet away from us before
it's hard
staring
to get
at us
a
while
chair
we're
at the
recording.
SHOT Show.
So there are no chairs, but so that is the
20.
that is the 25th. So again, the 23rd, manufacturer interviews. The 25th, we have live from the SHOT Show. Now, what's going to be the 23rd? The interview shows. We have AGM. We have Trent Hinkle from AGM Global Vision AGM USA. We've got Casey Cochran with iRay USA and Infrared Outdoor. We have why is my mind going blank?
Justin
We're going to have
Cole
Justin.
at
Justin from Pulsar. These interviews are ready to go. We're ready to make them live on day one of SHOT Show. But Jason, did I leave anything out? I mean, that's kind of it.
One thing I think that you made a great point about why watch these interviews, whatever. I'm going to say, guys, listen, some of these interviews are going to be 45 minutes long. We try to keep them short. And I know Hans and I are great at 45-minute shows, but we try okay, we're going to try to help them keep this shorter. But they've got so much information, and there's just some logical dialogue that we've got to ask a few questions that we know we want to know. You're going to want to know. So sometimes these shows do go a little bit longer. We apologize. We do try to keep those interviews as short as we can. But again, there's a lot of information that they need to transfer and do it in a somewhat of a logical way.
I mean, it's so there's so much information, y'all, that's gonna be coming out that I'm just thinking about the shows we've already done that. I hate to say it, you may almost have to watch it twice to really catch everything. I'm telling you, because there's
some of it is.
You're talking about new products. We're talking about pricing. We're talking about release date. I mean, there's a lot of information in there. But there's a lot of you out there that kind of just binge on that kind of stuff too and love it.
But what I wanted to say is that the benefit of these shows, even though it is, some time consuming watching it, you're getting a lot of details. You're getting the details directly from the manufacturer. And even though I'm saying it's a 30, 40-minute show, it is still concise. It is it's in a bullet point order. And the problem is with just getting it out on social media, and I'm not blaming social media because we'll be posting about it as well, but it's like a shotgun approach. Everybody is screaming at the same time different things. So you go to social media, and all the different dealers and the manufacturers are all trying to post and blast this information out, and it's hitting you from 4 different places. And then there's always, and it's never intentional, it's always accidental. There's some misinformation. Somebody goes to a booth, a dealer, and they go, "Oh man, look at this, is awesome." They get some info, they post it, and it's not exactly right. And
man, I'm going to tell you, and I'm seeing on Facebook forums right now, Jason, and SHOT Show hasn't even started, and there are people saying, like it's a matter of fact, that these optics are coming out. This is what's going to be released at this price, and it is wrong information.
Wrong,
very wrong. I mean, and I'm like, I can't say anything because we know, but I can't correct them. But Yeah, it is. There's a lot of bad information, unfortunately, that comes out that time of year.
And it's just a lot of information. Again, I'm not, well, those people that are doing that, that's a different story. But I'm talking about the day of shot and, you know, or the week of, and dealers are trying to get things out. It's never intentional. And even, to be honest, we've seen this where the manufacturer goes, hey, yeah, we told you this, but this changed,
Yeah.
you know, oops. Or,
Yeah.
you know, the reps for the manufacturers are in the booth. They're getting all this information, you know, that day or day before,
Yeah.
and they're trying to learn it and they're trying to tell you. So anyway, it is. Hopefully, though, these shows will do that. Now, I want to say one thing. Hans listed off there interview with AGM, with a Pulsar, with Infrared Outdoor, you know, iRay USA. There is a name there. We know some people are going to say, wait a minute, what happened to Envision? And so we didn't want y'all to think that we forgot about them, because we didn't. We have been in talks, you know, constantly with our good buddy Tim Dory over there at Envision. And basically, here's what it boiled down to. A year ago at SHOT Show, we interviewed them. They were just beginning to work on a concept. They were not ready to fully announce it, because it was literally an idea that they were starting to move towards. They didn't know what would happen. And so they kind of teased out they were working on something. Well, since then, they still haven't said much. They've let a little bit of information out to dealers. And so kind of, you know, again, not much information, kind of what we know from here is it looks like it's going to be a high-end, long-range clip-on thermal optic. That's kind of what they're shooting for. They still haven't officially said that, but from what we're hearing, they're really close, but they're not where they want to be to go out and publicly show this unit and just say everything about it yet. They are working on it, and I mean, this got to be kind of like a day-by-day thing of like, are we going to be ready to record this show? Yes, no, maybe so. And finally, we kind of sat down and said, hey, listen, and we talked to them. We didn't want them to come on here and say, hey, we can't talk about it, and then in 3 weeks from now, they're ready. And like, that's kind of a waste. So we all decided best thing to do is when they get this optic and they are ready to publicly talk about it, discuss it, give pricing, do all those things, give the specs, then we're going to have them on the show. They're invited to come back. We can talk to them then, do a big release and whatever then. So again, that's the reason why we just didn't want to have a show when they couldn't really talk about what they are like antsy to talk about. They want to talk about. So we're going to just give them some time when they are ready. Now,
so I want to.
Go ahead.
I think you bring up a good point too, and you're talking about that. Let's talk about thermal and night vision manufacturers, and I'll let you go into the depth of it. But you and I, on a daily basis, get emails upon emails from new companies that are manufacturing or distributing night vision or thermal optic. I mean, y'all, you may see or hear about a brand that you haven't seen on our show, and you're like, I wonder why they're not talking about it. But for every brand that you've seen, we've seen a dozen, or we've been contacted by a dozen that you haven't seen, maybe even more. But there are so many companies out there. It gets overwhelming. It gets confusing. You go on social media and people are telling you to buy this brand. Somebody else is telling you to buy this brand you've never even heard of. And you're like, okay, well, who's that? What is that? I'll let you get into it, Jason. But it's confusing. It's overwhelming. And again, there's so many new brands coming into the market that I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon.
Yeah, it's kind of always been this way, but it's getting a lot worse. And when I say it's always been this way, what I mean is every single year, throughout the year, and especially as we get closer to SHOT Show, we will get emails, we'll get phone calls, we'll get messages from companies saying, hey, we're got all these scopes coming out in the thermal business and blah, 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 and whatever. And we kind of look at it and, you know, most of the time kind of raise one eyebrow and go, okay, well, we'll see how that goes. Not really interested, whatever. And what's shocking is that I would say 90% of the times those companies go away. They sell a few scopes, they bring a few scopes in, and then they disappear. And so we don't want to be we want to be on the cutting edge, but we don't feel that being on the cutting edge means going out and running after every single new brand or new. Sometimes it's not even a brand. Sometimes it's some guy that's going, "Hey,
True
I've got
story,
this
yeah.
thing. I've got
Yeah.
this scope. Come literally. Come look at this out of this
It's
Pelican
some random
case."
guy that's importing scopes in from overseas, and it's and
Straight up.
just a random guy that's offering his own warranty, and you're like, wait, this
Yeah,
does not
straight
seem
up.
legit, you know?
No, yeah, exactly. But if you weren't careful, you could buy into this.
Yeah.
So with all this said, we want to be on the cutting edge of what's legitimate and where the industry is really going. And it's not that we're against the small time and whatever. No, we're not. But there's so much noise and there's so much fly by night. There's so much scams. There's so much that is going to be here today and gone tomorrow that, and we're not talking about, selling pencil sharpeners or hunting bags here. We're talking about selling optics that cost hundreds or thousands of dollars. And so we view it as our responsibility to vet these companies before we bring them on this show, before we sell them at Outdoor Legacy. We want to have some questions answered. We want to have a good feeling about their company as a whole, about their customer service, about their production and their quality, and all these things. It's a whole package for us. And so that's why you see us sticking to the trusted brands in the industry. Doesn't mean that every new brand is bad, but there's also the mistake that thinking every new brand is good. And just because something is new and just because something is cheaper doesn't mean that it's good. Oftentimes, it means the exact opposite. So all I'm going to say is there's a lot going on. You're going to hear about all kinds of brands coming out with stuff. And we get the questions. Why are y'all not talking about this? Well, we feel like we have to vet this. And I can just tell you, and I'm not going to name any names, Hans and I have gone by and looked at a lot of these optics over the years at the SHOT Show. There's optic brands that we're not going to mention. We have tested every single one of their optics. They have sent them to us. We have tested them. We have used them. And we go, for whatever reason, maybe it's not the optics. Maybe it's the company. Maybe it's the feeling we have about their customer service or their warranty or their longevity. Or we go, thanks, but no thanks. Maybe it's a good optic. But so I'm just making the point. There's a lot of noise out there. If you don't know and you're unsure, we would say that the brands that we recommend and that we sell, we feel like can be trusted. They have some history in the market. That we just feel like that they're good companies. Now, anything can happen. Anybody wants to go back and remember FLIR? You remember how FLIR was here today and gone tomorrow? They were the largest name in thermal in the United States of America, maybe in the world. And they were here and gone in the thermal market. And within 6 months, they were sold off, the whole company, to a company called Teledyne. So anything can happen. But with that said, we are, trust us on this. We are keeping our thumb on the pulse. And we are definitely always looking for new, legitimate, quality optics. And there's a lot of exciting things coming. So every year, we like to try to make a few predictions of kind of what we're going to see. Maybe not just at SHOT Show, because we've got an idea of what some of that is. But there's going to be more and more stuff coming out every year. And we like to throw out a few ideas of kind of where we see maybe things going for the year. I'm going to make a prediction, and I think we saw this in 2023. I think we've seen it more and more and more since COVID. I think we're going to see it again. And that is, before COVID, if something new was coming out for the year, it was pretty much going to be announced at SHOT Show. It might not get delivered until the end of the year, to the fall. It might never show up. Right. Plenty of optics got announced, and it was a concept. It was an idea. They had a rough prototype, and then it just never materializes. But I think since COVID, what we've seen is a lot of rolling things out when they're ready. So I think we're going to see a lot of optics announced that are going to be shipping in very short order. And then I think as those manufacturers get new optics that are kind of ready, maybe that's May, June, August, September, or whatever it is, I think we're going to see more things randomly coming out during the year as the manufacturers are ready to do so.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And people ask all the time, well, I don't want to buy something and something new is going to be coming out the next day, and should I wait for SHOT Show? And the question be, you could say that in May and be like, oh man, is there something new going to come out? Well, probably at some point something new is going to come out. And you're right, these optics now are being released throughout the year. It's not just SHOT Show. When these things are being announced, it's really, and the good thing too is a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, when they do announce something, either it's in stock or it's close to being in stock and ready to ship. So that's been a really good change in the industry. I think, following in on predictions, I think what we've seen and what we will continue to see is more features, more accessories. With a couple years ago, nobody thought that a removable, detachable laser rangefinder would even be a thing. Nobody, I don't think that was really on anybody's radar. Now you got, iRay USA and Infrared Outdoor that have wired removable laser rangefinders and Bluetooth laser rangefinders, that are add-on accessories with several of their models, which is, it's great. I think you're going to continue to see more scopes with more features like the laser rangefinder. I think that, a lot of people are talking about prices coming down. They probably have a little bit, but I think that the quality and the features are continuing to go up. I think that's still the focus of manufacturers. I don't think the manufacturers are running to the bottom of the quality barrel. I think that they're, more than anything, if I've seen, they're running up in quality. They're running to the higher, you've got, like you said, iRay coming out with 1280 scopes. They've got, high-end 640 optics that are competing with big brands, So I think they're just kind of running to the better quality stuff.
Yeah, and when you say that, I want to be clear on something. I think that's true of the quality and legitimate brands. I do think sometimes some of these newer brands that are coming in, the only way they can make their name is to sell stuff cheaper. And sometimes selling, not always, but sometimes selling stuff cheaper means making it cheaper. So I do think you're right. In these big trusted brands, I think we're actually seeing they're forcing themselves, amongst each other competition, getting better optics, higher quality optics. I'll tell you something that I see that I think we're going to look back and we're going to see as a thing of the past. And there's going to be some guys that say, oh man, I don't like this. But I think overall the industry has spoken, the industry, meaning consumers have spoken and they want to move away from it. And it's CR123A batteries. I think there's less and less optics than ever before that are using CR123As. I think we're going to move that direction. I don't think it's a bad thing because I come from the day when everything used that. That was basically it. But I do think that they're not great in super cold weather. They're not cheap. Those batteries have actually gone, up over the years, not down, which is true for all disposable batteries. Really, the prices have gotten kind of crazy, even on like AA's and that sort of thing. So I think we're seeing more and more going to proprietary battery packs. Obviously, we love the 18650s. We're always going to think that removable 18650 is great. It's a generic rechargeable battery. But Hans and I have never been against proprietary battery packs when they're good, when they work, when they've got good battery life. And I think we're just going to see more of that. And I think even though I get it, I see like, well, man, that's, I got to buy their battery pack. But I think that over time, when you kind of look at what the price has done on these CR123As and the fact that I think these proprietary batteries are getting longer and longer runtime, every year they're getting a little better runtime. I just think that's the way that the market is going, and I honestly think it's probably a good thing.
You're exactly right, and the internal non-removable batteries that people get really nervous about, and rightfully so. That's just the way it's going to be. But those things rarely go bad. Well, rarely do we have somebody call in and say, "Oh man, I've got a bad battery." It's just very rarely.
I think that what we've seen is that came on in about 2019 when Pulsar released the Thermions. January of 2019 SHOT Show. Yeah. That was the first internal non-removable batteries that were in a popular scope. And there was huge fear and concern. And so 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 5 full years on the market. And I mean, I talked to guys that are still using their very first Thermion they bought in 2019, and nobody's hollering about the battery.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's a good thing. There's one last prediction I'll make, and I don't think this is going to be widespread, but I do think that we are moving slowly towards more HD resolution thermal sensors. I mean, the 1024s, the 1280s, I think we're just going to see more of that over time. Again, I think that's not any amazing crystal ball to see that. I don't think it's going to come as fast as some people think. We're like, by next year, we're all going to be running 1280s. And I don't think it's that. I think it's going to take some time, especially for those prices to trickle down and become more and more affordable. But, when we had this show last year, we had the Infrared Outdoor, the RS75, which is the 1280. That was the very first we had ever seen of that. And now we come down, and there have been some significant price drops in that unit 1 year later, which again we predicted. We predicted that's how technology works. But also now we look at Pulsar. Pulsar has 2 HD optics. So we have a 1024 set of binoculars, the Merger XLs that came out. And then this fall they released, or last fall, I guess, whatever, 2023 fall, they released the the Thermion XL 1024 rifle scope. So they've got 2 high resolution optics. So I guess I would say that we went from 1 to 3 total in 12-month period. So that's a lot. It's a big jump, and I think we're going to see more of that. I think it's just going to slowly expand and expand, and as it does, push down prices on 640s and push down prices on 384s. So anyway, that's kind of my last prediction of that. But we're excited and ready to get out there and see what all new. Even though we have a pretty good feel of what's coming, there's always surprises at SHOT Show.
Yeah. So I think this is a good spot to insert this, since we didn't do it before. If you're looking for a night vision or thermal optic, we got to pay the bills, Jason.
Hey, trust me, I got to pay for Vegas. I know.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a new optic and you want to talk to somebody that's used it, if you want to talk to people with experience and who can tell you how this brand new Pulsar scope Thermion XP50 Pro compares to the very first Pulsar Trail XP50 that was put on the market, you can call us. I mean, we have a lot of experience, many years of experience with all of these thermals, going back to the early Pulsar days, to the FLIR days, like Jason said, even Armasight, old Armasight days. I mean, goodness. So you can give us a call, 877-350-1818, outdoorlegacygear.com. Now, I know what everybody's asking. They're saying, this talk about scopes is fantastic. I'm excited about the shows, but is Jason going to let Hans have any fun while he's out in Vegas, while he's making him work, making him edit all these shows, do all this social media stuff? Is he going to let him do anything? And I'm going to tell you, I'll just say, I've been to Vegas dozens of times. And I'm not saying that braggingly. I worked out there for a little, or I had traveled out there quite a bit for work. But I didn't get to go. I never went to a Vegas show until the first time, which was 2 years ago. You and I and the wives went to a Vegas show. We went and saw Penn and Teller. So that was really cool. Got to do that. Last year we went to, I don't know what that show was called last year.
Variety show.
We did do that. But so we have gone to some shows before, which is really cool. We do a little bit of whining and dining. We've got a fancy dinner that we got to go to this year, y'all. Let me tell you, my wife, we don't have a lot of fancy clothes. We just don't go to a lot of fancy dinners. This is something you got to wear a sport jacket to. And I'm like, well, what's a sport jacket? I mean, what is that? Like a dress coat?
Sports jacket.
Sports. I'm not even calling it the right name. Sports coat. Yeah. So I'm having to go out and find a sports coat. I don't even know what size I am. So I'm like having to go to like the department store to pick something out. Well, my wife doesn't have fancy dresses. She has ordered, like, I'm gonna tell you, $1,000 worth of dresses that she's going to try on and keep one and send all of them back. But every night it's like, what do you think how does this dress look? And I'm like, usually you try to be like, oh, it looks okay, but I there's sheep come out some of y'all, and I'm like, no,
That's me.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. That is not going. Just because it's Vegas does not mean it has to be sequenced from the very bottom all the way to the neck. Yeah,
exactly. No, Hans is right. So we do have a fancy dinner that we have to go to that is a coat required, and the ladies got to get dressed up in fancy dresses. So my wife's been going through the same thing of like, she's got dresses, but she's like, I don't have anything nice enough. So anyway, she's been going through all that. Hans probably doesn't know our whole schedule, but
I don't.
We're going to be there about, I'm going a day early. I'll be there 5 nights. He'll be there 4. I think that's right. And we have a dinner plans every single night. We have something, an event, meeting with manufacturers and that sort of thing that we've been invited to. So I didn't necessarily plan all this out. Wasn't really, you get invited to things and you can't say no. So every single night we have a dinner plan. So I will say it's going to be work all day. The show's over at about 5. It's rush back to the room, wash up, clean up, change clothes, get an Uber or a cab and go to wherever supper is. And so there's going to be a lot of work at night. I say work. It's going to be enjoyable, but we're definitely going to be at a lot of suppers, eating a lot of good food and steaks.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try to make sure that, when these suppers are over, that I let Hans go have a little bit of fun, and as long as he's in the bed by 9:30, so he can get up the next morning and edit all these podcasts. So here, that's another deal. We are recording on Tuesday afternoon, good Lord willing, at the American Defense Manufacturing booth. And then we're supposed to do that late that afternoon. Then we have to leave the hotel at 5:30 to go to this fancy supper event thing that we got invited to. But we have meetings all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday. But that podcast has to be live, edited, and posted on Wednesday night so that it's live for Thursday morning. That's going to be episode 299. Hans is going to have to do that sometime in that hotel room, and I don't know when that's going to be. So it always makes me nervous because Hans is a bit of a procrastinator.
Man,
and he always gets it done. He always gets it done, but he's not worried about that
before the show started today, we had a pre-show meeting, and you said that most of my ideas are terrible. I want the audience to hear this, how I'm being treated over here.
Hold on. First of all, I was joking. Second of all, I was using that as a compliment because you came up with an idea about something, and I said, most of your ideas are terrible. This one you just came up with was really good.
Okay. Yeah, well, it made me feel good. I felt good about it, actually, when, by the time we were done with the conversation.
A little insult makes the compliment bigger.
Exactly.
That's the way that I said. Normally, your ideas are terrible. This one was good. So.
All in all, though, yes, it is a fun time. It is a whirlwind, though. And Jason and I don't like being away from home that long. It's really tough. You start missing home, and you start missing your routine and all that stuff. But it is a good time, and it is a lot of work. We enjoy bringing this information to you. Now, that week, Jason, you might want to mention, but that week, as far as with the day-to-day business with Outdoor Legacy, it's going to be a little bit different. So, get into that.
It's going to be different. So, listen, we're open for business. Our warehouse is open. We're going to be shipping. The ladies are in the office. We're still going to have Ashley back here on the phones. But it's difficult. Hans and I will have to be taking calls from there. So what we always tell guys is, listen, if you want to know about what's new, if you hear about the new whatever scope that's coming and we talked about on the show or whatever, I hate to say this, but it's true. It's probably don't call us that week because we're going to be out. We're going to be literally talking to you, walking to somewhere else. We're going to be in Vegas. We might be in the hotel room for a few minutes. It's really tough. Again, we're going to have Ashley back here on the phone some. But if you're wanting to find out about this new stuff, I would say to wait and call us when we're back in Texas, which is going to be, we'll be back in the office, January 29th, Monday. I would say Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of that week. Let us get back and get caught up. Listen, guys, we want to talk to you. We want to tell you all about the new stuff. We're as excited as y'all are going to be. We want to, we do. We want to sell you a scope if that's what you want. If you know, like, hey, I don't care about what's coming new. I want to buy a scope and I want to buy something you got today. I ain't waiting around. Call us. That's no problem. We can do that. But oftentimes, guys, like they call, hey, I want to just talk to you about this. Tell me about it. And it's like, we don't know that much sometimes. Sometimes we don't have all the information we need. And again, that information flow, we've got to get back and digest it. And we've got to inform our team. We got to let everybody else know, okay, this is coming in. This is the price on this. This is the magnification. So sometimes it's just hard to get all that out. But we want to talk to you. Look forward to it. Hopefully, like I said, when we're back in Texas, that last week of January, which I think, whatever I said, 29th or whatever that is, that week would be fantastic to talk then.
Okay. All right. So this has been the Pre-Shot Show episode number 290. Pre-Shot Show.
Shot show. It's a pre-shot show episode. How about that?
It's a pre-shot show episode, episode 298. So again, January 23rd, manufacturer interviews. January 25th, live from the Shot Show, episode 299. When we get back, Jason, the last week of this month, episode 300. So we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do special for that one. But anyway, thank you all for joining us. We are thankful that you join us every week. There's so many of you out there that call in and say, hey, I'm looking for a scope and I love the show, or you message us or whatever, but we really appreciate the show. I say it all the time, but it is really growing like crazy, y'all. You can find us anywhere. Outdoor Legacy on all the socials, Hansi's Texas on all the socials and on Facebook. Obviously this show is on all the audio platforms, iTunes, Spotify. It's on Amazon now. My brother-in-law has informed me that he can now listen to the show because he only has Amazon. So he's excited about that.
I think that's like on Amazon podcast,
it's on the Prime.
Kindle or something. I don't know.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Not Kindle.
They have
not Kindle. What
they
is
have
it?
a
Amazon
podcast.
Music. I think it's on there. Yeah.
Maybe it's that. Yeah. I don't use that. But
yeah.
So anyway, you can find this show anywhere. But stay tuned. Again, next week is going to be busy. A lot of stuff coming out. Stick close to YouTube or stick close to where you listen to the show, and you will know about all the new stuff before all your buddies, and then you can look like the smartest guy in the room. So do it for that.
Yeah, exactly. If I can look at the smartest guy in the room, I'll watch the show, man. It's that good. All right, guys. Hey, listen, hope you enjoyed this show. We, again, hope to see y'all next week live from sunny Las Vegas. Between now and then, y'all stay safe in the fields. We'll see y'all soon.